Well, hey guys, Montel here, and welcome to this edition of Let's Be Blunt with Montel. My guest today is a Jamaican native who has dedicated his entire adult life to farming and exporting agricultural goods, amassing vast knowledge and expertise in the process. In 2015, he boldly ventured into the uncharted territory of psilocybin mushroom cultivation, which led to commercial sales in 2018. Boasting over 16 years of experience in genetic development, cultivation, extraction, and logistics in the domain of agriculture, his unmatched expertise sets him apart as a true master of his craft. He is the founder of Rose Hill Apothecary, which has achieved an unprecedented milestone as the first entity to legally export psilocybin mushrooms. Charles Lazarus, welcome to Let's Be Blunt with Montel, sir.
Thanks for having me, Montel. What a joy.
It's so good to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your experience in agriculture and genetics leading up to the formation of Rose Hill Apothecary.
Well, I think it's really nice the way they frame it. When I was in my 20s, I spent some time exporting Jamaican grown provisions and fruits from Kingston to London for the ethnic markets there. So that was maybe like 7 years of that,
You clearly had your own farm, but was it basically back then mostly just fruits and things, right?
Yeah, it was like Scotch bonnet peppers, round leaf yellow yam, all the things that Jamaican people love when they're far away. And it's a very interesting diaspora demand that there is in London specifically.
And then how did your vision for Rose Hill Apothecary come about?
It didn't really get into the fact that I am also a musician. And as a musician, going all the way back to my teens, I just had a relationship with the medicine, with psilocybin, So I knew that Jamaica was legal to produce there. And I happened to enjoy mushrooms. I like taking them. So I wanted to have different genetics that we just didn't have access to wild harvesting. And the only way to get that was to grow them yourself, to cultivate them.
Right. Now you just said, but back then it was legal in Jamaica, but it has not been legal around the world, not in the United States, though there's all kinds of research being done, supposed research being done in the United States right now about psilocybin, other natural element or components like that, that's starting to finally come to be. But you decided back then, not only because you were using it yourself, you started growing it and developing out different genotypes, right?
That's right. Because how we would do it in the beginning is we would go wild harvesting. The mushrooms grow everywhere, and I'm on a farm. We had cows when I was a kid, so they grow out of the cow poops. There was a friend of my father's, an American man, and he just a great influence on me growing up. He lived in Jamaica back in the 70s and 80s, and most of the 90s as well. And he told me about mushrooms and an experience that he had. And in hearing that, I remember even as a child, I was like, man, when I get big, I definitely want to try those. So they were there. We would wild harvest them. And then naturally, when it was time to, to renew genetics, really, because it can't just keep going all the time, I looked to what we had in Jamaica, and I went out into the fields, took spore prints, brought them home, did crosses. I always just grew up loving the personality of our natural medicine from the earth.
And there are so many different types of mushrooms that do have psilocybin in them. Is psilocybin different? Like the same? I'm trying to equate it. Is it like the same thing when it comes to cannabis genetics? There are certain cannabis plants that have higher rates of THC, other minor cannabinoids. Are there certain types of mushrooms that have higher percentage of psilocybin, but then still carry the other component parts?
Yeah, for sure. I can't remember what the last listing is, but it's got to be maybe like 200 different types of identified psilocybin producing mushrooms, fungi that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
They, in my experience, anecdotally, all have different, we say personalities. I can't sit here and tell you I know all the science, the way that we do for cannabis. We know terpenes impact the direction of your experience. So that's still in discovery for mushrooms, right? But I know that they're different.
Okay, but when we talk about mushrooms, well, most people understand psilocybin does produce a euphoria that's psychedelic, or when microdosed, it can literally just be no more powerful than the mind expansion of, let's say, cannabis. So, what are you shooting for when you're looking to produce the mushrooms that you have?
So Jamaica has retreats. There's loads of retreats that are operating there, and each one of them has a different thing that they're focused on.
And this has been in the last couple of years. These
You
retreats.
would say like in the last decade, it's just been made aware. People are talking about it in the last couple of years, which I think kind of comes out of just everyone being crazy from COVID.
Right.
but but different retreats have different indications that they're targeting. Like the Beckley Foundation, they might be focused on depression. Atman retreats might be focused on PTSD, etc., etc. I can't speak to what everyone is doing specifically. However, in being able to grow medicine and interact with the practitioners and the people hosting these retreats and knowing what it is that they want and producing medicine for them, we've been able to kind of anecdotally, knowing the personalities of different types of medicine, be able to focus to each, and get feedback. Because I mean, I cannot sit down and trip every day of the year. I would never get anything done. So it's really great to have a relationship with that network and know what it is that they're doing and be able to get feedback. Like, I mean, you're talking, I had a friend of mine, a practitioner, she sat with at least 400 people in 2022. So that's a lot of feedback to say, hey, well, what was it like this time? What was it like this time? What was it like this time? And then I know that, well, we're doing little things on our end and how that corresponds.
And each one of those patients probably came there to the retreat to try to elicit a different kind of response. And so you can actually fine tune, I guess that's the term I'm gonna use. You can fine tune the mushrooms to actually elicit the response that each individual group is looking. You were talking about PTSD, drug abuse, drug addiction, depression, those kinds of things. So there is a different phenotype for each one of those.
Yeah, in theory, yes. And what we're doing now is, which is great, we have a partnership with a lab we're also working on labs with labs in Jamaica, but we're fortunate to have a lab in the states that we're working with, that we've been able to export the medicine, look at with a certificate of analysis like you would have with cannabis, and look at it and kind of see, all right, well, we know it does this. Why does it do that? Could it be that there are these metabolites that are causing that? And then beyond that, mushrooms kind of take on what you feed them. So some of them are dung-loving mushrooms, which are rich biodiversity, and some of them don't like dung, or they're wood lovers. I don't really grow wood lovers. I wish I could get more into that, but that will be in the future. Right now, it's mainly ones that are dung lovers, or not cubensis in general, or Panaloa cyanescens.
And when you
So
say wood lovers, they are mushrooms that grow on wood.
on wood, correct.
And there's other ones that grow in dung,
Correct.
and those are the ones that, excuse me, have the triple effect, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, they'll express differently.
Right.
So depending on what substrates you grow mushrooms on, it kind of leads to what you get out of them in the end. But you need to understand that relationship, and the only way to really understand that relationship, outside of anecdotally taking mushrooms and experiencing it yourself, would be to send it to a lab, people much smarter than I am, that's their wheelhouse, and look at what comes back out of it and see if we can make a certain correlation between those results and what we know the experience should be or has been.
Now, where in Jamaica is your farm located?
It's located in Runaway Bay, which is in the center, the geographical center of the North Coast. I grew up there. I've been there pretty much my whole life, other than my travels. And it is a very old estate. It's was built in 1723. Wow. It's a little spooky. It's got a ghost in it. and I love it there. To me, it's a not to be a little bit out of the box, but it's a little portal. It's a little gate to another. The dimensions are thin there, Montel. When you come and visit, you'll see.
Well, tell us a little bit about the farm itself and what you're actually trying to achieve right now. Now, again, you said you were growing different phenotypes. I mean, if I were you, you also grow fruits and vegetables, and you also grow cannabis there, right?
Yeah, I grow a lot of pimento there. That's what it is historically. It's a pimento farm.
Mhm.
Pimento is called allspice. That's what most people know it as. It's a little berry that grows on a tree, similar to black pepper, which though that grows on a vine, but whatever. It's a little berry, and then it's crushed into a powder, which we call allspice. That's what's on the shelf, and that's cool. And of course, we have a garden which takes care of us because we live there, and it's a farm, so lots of people, so we feed ourselves. And for fun, I'm a beekeeper. I enjoy bees, and Scotch bonnet pepper because I like burning people's mouths up.
Now, your company was the very first company in the world to export psilocybin, and you said you exported to the United States. Do you have a lot of competitors today?
It was Canada. It was the University of Alberta, in fact, and it was February 2021, and it was the first Health Canada permit I think that I know of that was issued, and we did it in conjunction with a company called Midocene, which they were really great. It took a lot, working on both sides. That was the first one. I mean, now it's much easier. At the time, the authorities, they really didn't really know how to handle it. It's very strange. Um, Pharmaceutical things or medicines like that, they want it to be exact. It's very hard to say exactly how much psilocybin is in 10 kilos of biomass.
Right.
But we did it and it was great. Since then, we've done loads of research, export for research. We have a relationship now with the University of Guelph where we're looking at indications like autism. It's very dear to my two business partners. They both have children that are autistic. So
On the spectrum. And do you export to other countries? You're going to Canada, other places too?
we have done we do America as well because we test here. We go very deep in our testing here, not because I mean we would love to do that in Jamaica, and we will in time. We do test there, but we're trying to go much deeper in the metabolites, like not just psilocybin, psilocin, norbeacystin, baeocystin. We want to go further, and we found a lab that goes much deeper. So we're working with them.
And you also do you do extractions for functional mushrooms like reishi, lion's mane, all those kind
I
of things?
would love to. I would
You
love.
don't yet.
We don't yet, and only because I can't drink the ocean. There's so many of them. I'm just right now we're focusing on what we have the edge on and what we know. Do I love lion's mane? Absolutely, I consume it, and I do grow lion's mane for friends and family to eat fresh because in Jamaica it's just not really. You can't get fresh lion's mane that easily.
Well, I'll tell you, when you do a batch of it, can you send? Can lion's manes be sent to the?
Yes,
Well, you can
yes.
send me some next time. Or next time you come up.
No, no. This is how it's gonna go. You're gonna come to Jamaica to stay at the farm in the estate. I have a perfect cabin that says the Montel Williams cabin on it. And you're gonna come down there and you're gonna walk the property. And we're gonna eat some mushrooms and smoke some ganja and and soak up the energy of old Jamaica.
There you go. Okay. Well, I'll definitely put that on my calendar. Um, Tell me a little bit about the products that you have. You have a product line that's out, and how does that product line stand apart from some of your competitors?
Well, we're fortunate. We were I'm pretty sure the first CPG brand that was on the market. We were very nervous at first. We just tiptoed out. I mean, it's legal, but we knew that we didn't know how it would be received. Fortunately, the government has been amazing and has held us with open arms. In fact, Kevin and I sit on my business partner. We sit on the Jamaica Mushroom Industry Technical Committee, which has been put together by the Bureau of Standards to kind of set the standard with industry in Jamaica. We are ahead. We are legal. So Patu is our brand. It is Patu is the Jamaican word for owl, and we thought it would really fit how the medicine we sit with the medicine because the owl sees behind the veil,
Yes.
right? So
Hold on a second. I forgot. I had you. We had dinner last night, and you gave me some of your packaging,
So
and
we
I
did.
forgetting up. You gave me some of your packaging, and I want to show that packaging to people. This is your patu, and patu means owl, correct?
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so
So those will be our gummies. That's our latest product. It comes from an extract. We're very proud of it. That's for being energetic. You're on a walk, you're hiking, you're in nature.
this is psilocybin infused.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, and then you also have in your box you gave me this one. What is this?
So those are our microdose capsules. It's a blend of several different types of psychedelic fruits, which are sold health food stores, boutique hotels, etc., etc.
And then you have this.
That would be our 4 gram journey bar. We're very proud of it. We crush the cacao as well as the biomass of the mushrooms together,
Mhm.
and then we make chocolate. And Jamaica has some very acclaimed cacao beans on the planet.
And then you also have this.
That's right. That's our social dose, and our which is a different personality, and it's more for being social with friends. It's not so inward, it's more outward.
You know,
And
when we say that, there are a lot of people. Maybe since you are a connoisseur of psilocybin in a sense, why don't you explain to people what that whole journey is like? Because for people who have never done it before, um,
right.
is it a cannabis kind of a high? Is it a wine kind of a high? Is it a high, or is it a expansion feeling? What is it?
I mean, I can only speak from
Sure.
myself, but
Yes.
at high doses, there is a sense of connectivity to the nature that's around you, a sense of being plugged in to the whole world and just the essence of life. There's profound self love, which I feel is missing with lots of us, and all healing starts with self love. And there's perspective on just how small we are in the big picture, and the way that we should participate just in humanity and life in general. I feel that it is a profound and important experience. I would say ineffable in a way. However, um, I mean, for me, it's to commune with the higher self and the Most High. It can be very profound. It can be
Yeah,
very.
I talked to me. You said you have that canister, which is the social one. That's something that somebody would do at a concert or something, or what?
So at lower doses and different types of medicine, different types of mushrooms affect us differently. There are some, that are very they're not so inward, where you're going in to that experience I spoke about. You can be out and very social, and you want to laugh and hang out with friends, and you want to be in a big group in a loud place, as opposed to on a beach somewhere or on a mountaintop reflecting on God. Like, different fruits definitely have different personalities. It's all mushrooms. I think another interesting thing, I find that with some compounds, it takes going to bed to reset for the next day. What's
Got it.
really interesting about mushrooms is the experience takes you from where we are right now, and it will go all the way to another dimension. And when it's finished with you, it brings you right back to the clarity that we have right now. It's not like you have to go to bed and sleep it off. It's there, and then it just goes away.
Typical lasting time of 3, 4, 5 hours.
Between 4 and 6 hours.
Gotcha.
A very strong dose. A microdose is going to be a lot shorter, of course. Microdosing is taking 1/10 of the dose that would be an experience such as that of a psychedelic dose. 1/10. It's almost imperceptible, and it sits just right in the background and just impacts like your day. like the way you show up in the world on an average day, the way that you would feel in traffic when you get cut off and you would normally just want to kill that person. That's not there anymore. You're far more forgiving of those things, and more at peace, more calm.
more relaxed. Now, you also have medical cannabis products, do you not?
No, no, we don't. However, I do consume them. I
Do
do.
you grow them on your farm?
There was a long time ago where I under pretty like the it would be called it's like a special permit. I would grow cannabis because I really love the plants, and I would experiment with living soil, which is really kind of how I got to cultivating mushrooms, because living soil is making sure that the soil that the plant is growing in has all of the mycelial activity going on, and the soil has everything it needs in there, and you don't have to fertilize it. The soil is not just some potting medium that holds roots. It's actually alive, like a mountainside is alive. The mushrooms are grown in depending on the variety. Uh, it's coconut coir, the husk of the coconut shell, vermiculite, and gypsum. And then, of course, depend if you're growing dung lovers, it has to have whatever that is. Is that cow dung? Is that horse manure? Is there some bat guano in it at some point? All of those things have to be there, a rich biodiversity, depending on the fruit that you're growing. I see that in Oregon, for example, where we're going for licenses now. In the regulations, they're actually calling for you to not use manure. I guess that would limit the ones that what you choose to grow there, the direction that you choose to go.
So, Charles, I mean, do you think that psilocybin is finally becoming widely more accepted as a holistic medicine around the world?
Yeah, I absolutely feel it. I mean, remember, so we have all of our socials and we have our websites, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we get a lot of feedback from everywhere. And I mean, we're in Jamaica, it's legal. We can be very loud about what we're doing because it's legal. So people reach out to us, and we also get feedback from, you know, what people are going through and the experiences that they're having. And I can say that having been there for cannabis, having been there for cannabis and seeing the speed that cannabis went at, let's just pick on, say, California, from medical all the way to recreational. I think that was like 20 years. I
Hmm.
mean, mushrooms did it in one.
Right.
Yeah,
And the retreats that you're holding, again, you said not you are holding, but are being held in Jamaica. There are what, about 20 different ones?
I mean, we serve more than a dozen, and there's a lot we don't. I would say it's probably more officially in the 20 to 30 range that I know of, and there are loads more. We actually have our retreat offering, which is one retreats, and last year we did three. Next year, we have eight that are listed. There's eight for the general public, and then there's many for veterans that we do, but those are not advertised. We do Navy SEALs primarily, which are very fascinating. I wish I would like to speak to it in depth, but my business partner Kevin Burke, that's his passion, and he really loves, that's his thing. So it's like I'm learning so much more from being with him on that journey. I mean, I think it's 8 Navy SEALs at a time, and all of the experiences as a team learns the needs, and as Kevin learns the needs, and his partner Vernice, who is amazing. Well, she really holds the whole thing together. Mm.
And these groups come down to deal with a myriad of issues for themselves, but basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's from what I understand from being around Vernice and Kevin, often it goes all the way back to childhood and family and a sense of community and belonging. I mean, we are all going through this human experience, and we are all having our challenges. So I mean, I point on someone who's just got it all figured out. I haven't met that person yet.
You're right. So now tell me, how do you see your business expanding over the next couple of years?
Well, we're definitely going for licenses in Oregon. We're trying to participate. Well, we are participating in what that looks like in America stateside. And the only way to do so is to roll up your sleeves and to do so. So
And
we
get
are doing that. Yeah. And
and,
then along
and
that way we learn. Yeah.
when you say you're doing that, that means that you're exporting into Oregon now.
We are we so we are in the process of building out for license. And what we are going to do is we're going to use the methodologies that we have dialed in Jamaica, and we're going to reproduce in that same way in Oregon and produce the brand Patu or version of it inside the legal container of each state as they come online. We have all of this anecdotal data. We do all of this research. We participate. I mean, Montel, I'm generally the dumbest person on the call.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting for me. I'm cool with that. Like I'm learning a lot. I'm just soaking it all in, and I every day pinch myself, and I can't believe that this is where I get to sit in this place. And I just want to do what's best, just as we all do for people, healing, and the medicine, which has helped us all profoundly in our journey.
And there, I guess the model is rolling out pretty much the same way the cannabis model is rolled out, where every state the medicine has to be produced in that state. Are you able to export your products from Jamaica in, or you have to go in with seeds, grow the product in the states, and then process it there, provide it to the processors?
Yeah. So for research and development, we are able to ship from Jamaica on the DEA licenses or Health Canada licenses. Pretty much in any country on earth that provides import permits, we are able to supply them.
Okay.
However, for things like products, like Patu is a recreational product, and I don't think recreation is going to be a thing to think about for now. Like
Gotcha.
inside the legal container of Oregon or Colorado or California, whichever, as the states open up, you will have to do everything. It seems you will have to do everything inside that legal container. And that's fine. Like it's the same, again, the same methodologies that we would have in Jamaica and the genetics that we use and the way we go about it. Yeah, I believe that we will be able to reproduce pretty close to what it is that we're doing there.
Gotcha. Anything major coming up in the next couple of months? You were talking about the fact that you have 8 retreats and there are several retreats going on. Where's a website that people can go to if they wanted to find out when and how to get connected to some of these retreats?
All right, sure. So it's oneretreatsjamaica.com. Yeah.
Or ONE? One?
ONE.
ONE.
ONE. Yeah, ONE.
And
And
that list of retreats that are available and if people wanted to sign up.
yes,
And of
yes.
course, there's a cost involved, but everyone's probably different, right?
Yes, everyone is different, and we're really proud to say that our model was to be very inclusive and allow those costs to be attainable to most. I mean, it involves everything from you land at the Montego Bay Airport, or Kingston, I guess, but Montego Bay, all the way you go to the grill. The environment is beautiful, the food is nourishing and amazing, the people are fantastic, and it's pretty much a week. It's pretty much a week. There are 2 deep dives that you take, and there's integration. After the experience, there's a lot of intake processing that goes before, where you're speaking to people, and then there's the community afterwards. And right now, we're working on a platform called Guidance that's going to help people after the fact, because right now, so the experience is great when you go and you sit with the medicine. But it's really the integration that comes after, the days after, the weeks after, the months after, that really is the profound difference. So you're caring for these people. You can't just like break them loose, and shatter them and then set them free into the world like that. You've got to care for them afterwards. And healing happens in community. So Guidance will speak to that. And again, we're learning. It's not as if it's like a million people. There's this volume model. It's not like that. It's 12 people, 10 people at a time. By the time they arrive in Jamaica, you know them. You've been on, calls with them. You've spoken to them one on one in groups. Everyone knows each other. They get there, they meet each other in person, and then they go through a very profound protocol together, and then they stay together and they support each other. You basically create this bubble of people that have really experienced this thing together, and they can support one another with guidance, and we have the team. I would say that the pool of practitioners that are out there that have to hold space, I think that's a concern for the whole industry moving forward, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot, and it takes energy from. It's hard. It's not, it's your people that are coming there. They're coming because there's a challenge, and usually that's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. So
Sure, sure. Well, I wish you much luck. I mean, anything else you want to add?
I don't know. Let me see. I really should point out that we're on an interview. You and I, we're talking about it, Charles and Montel. But the real beauty about Rose Hill, which is our company, is a team that we've put together, which comprises, I mean, loads of us on the outset, but internally it would be Kevin Burke and Dominic Super and myself. And we have retreats, and we have, a value added product that we sell, and that's great, and we get to participate in research. But it's really a community on a whole that I just want to be really grateful for, because I am not the best mycologist by a long. I don't like no way. I could never say that. I have to reach out to people when I have problems, and Kevin has to reach out to people when he doesn't understand. So we are carrying the flag and the torch because we're in a position to do so. But there are tremendous people doing the work. It's not just us. So I think that would be where I would end it, in saying that we're really grateful for the community at large.
So, Charles, one more time, if people wanted to get more information, where would they go?
They would go to oneretreatsjamaica.com. They would go to rosehill.life, or they could go to Patoo, Patoo, patoojamaica.com.
Yeah, there you go. Well, sir, thank you so much for being a part of Let's Be Blunt with Montel today. I know that people are very excited about the opportunity to reach out to you. So, and we'd love to have you back anytime you want to come back and share more information. I'd love to have you. Okay.
Thanks for having me. Next time we do it, we'll do it live at the farm with you.
There we go. We'll do it at the farm. Bring Keith down, and he'll set it all up. We got it ready.
Montel, we know you love Jamaica. We know you love to come to Jamaica all the time.
There you go, my friend, for sure. You take care of yourself. You stay well. Have a wonderful holiday, and good luck for the new year, okay?
One love. Blessings.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and make sure you tune in to the next edition. Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Thanks for joining me on Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell to be notified when new episodes post each week. We'd love to hear your feedback also, so please send us your comments.